Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. Today I am fired up and ready to go. I had the pleasure on Monday of this week of attending a full day. And when I say full day, it was 10 hours of live education, inspiration, confidence building, whatever you want to call it. It was an absolutely amazing event. It was hosted by Jamie Kern-Lima, who, if you're not familiar with who she is, she built a cosmetic company and struggled to build it, sold it to L'Oreal for over $1 billion in cash. It was one of the biggest deals in cosmetic history. Her story is amazing. I had the pleasure of being in her pre-launch book club. So I got to read her book before it came out, and I just got the hard copy yesterday, and I will most likely read it again in the hard copy. I will bring this to the beach and I will make sure that my daughter reads this. Jamie's story is absolutely incredible. And if you've ever been rejected or ever struggled, which who hasn't, you're really going to relate to her story of simply never giving up. I mean, when you hear all of the signs that were there, the no's, and she just kept going. And now she was able to host this virtual amazing event from 10 a.m. to after 8 p.m. And when I tell you, I made sure that I logged on my phone versus my computer because I did not want to miss a single second. I've attended other events like this, and if I miss 5 minutes and somebody writes in the comments, oh my gosh, how about when they said blah, 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 it gives me such FOMO, I can't even handle it. So I did not want to miss a thing. I did not miss a thing. I have pages upon pages of notes, and I wanted to share it with all of you because number one, I don't think it's too late to buy the replay. I don't have any skin in the game. These people have no idea who I am. I just do a lot of work on self-help, and I followed a lot of the people who were her guests over the years. And it was the most amazing lineup I think I've ever seen in one event. Every single person that if I would just think to myself, oh, I'm surprised that she doesn't have Lewis Howes. And it's like, they drum roll, surprise guest, surprise. And there's Lewis Howes as a surprise guest. Like anyone who you thought was, oh, I'm surprised, they showed up, with the exception of Oprah. I kept waiting for Oprah to show up because Oprah is now Jamie's neighbor. Jamie got so successful that she bought Ed Snyder's mansion in Santa Barbara, California. It was for sale for like $50 million, and she bought it, and she's now Oprah's neighbor on one side and Rob Lowe's neighbor on the other side in this spectacular estate in Santa Barbara. So dreams do come true. So last week I talked about, what is your currency of choice? Would you rather give up your time, your money, or your energy? And I also included it in my follow-up email for those of you that are on my email list. If you're not, it's time to get on my email list because I'm going to be sending out a lot of these quote recaps in my email newsletter. So get on my email list if you're not already. You're going to want these quotes. I have like 3 pages of digitized quotes plus my own handwritten notes. So lots of information. So a lot of people replied to this last newsletter email saying time. They would rather give their time. And that's okay. And if that's working for you, keep doing it. But you have to remember how much your time is worth. If you're producing, $100 an hour behind the chair and you end up trading your time for something else that you don't want to spend money on, think about how much that cost you really in the end, because you could have paid for it and had that time to be behind the chair earning $100 where maybe the item was only $37 and you chose to pay with time instead of money. You lost out on that. So I thought it was a cool way to bring last week into this week, and something that really stood out. I mean, I always talk about how amazed I am on some of the comments on Facebook forums and how negative the chatter can be. So after this event. It was called Becoming Unstoppable. You could watch it live on Facebook or on YouTube, and 240,000 people watch this event live. And can't even imagine how many are going to catch the replay. So that's a lot of people. And in the Becoming Unstoppable Facebook group, because I nerd out on all these things, I join every group that I'm excited to be in great company with like-minded people. And the day of the event, maybe 15 minutes after it ended, someone wrote, just wondering if you had any idea how long this event was going to be, would you still have signed up? That was really long to expect people to sit through. And I just literally laughed out loud, like spit my drink out. And I thought, number one, then in the comments, people said, yeah, oh my gosh, so much time. That's ridiculous. And all she did was kept trying to sell her book. Okay, guys, the event had Tony Robbins, who charges thousands of dollars for you to see him speak for an hour. Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Mel Robbins, highest paid female speaker in the country, number one female speaker in the country. She spoke for an hour. Who else did? Jay Shetty, who you've probably seen his videos floating around Facebook that make you bawl your eyes out every time you see it. So many amazing speakers. There wasn't one that was not interesting. The event was free. This woman who posted this in the group showed up free. She had no skin in the game. She didn't pay anything. And she was complaining that it took too long to digest the information, that it should have been done over several days. That was, her comment. And the one woman answered, yeah. And she just kept trying to sell her book. Her book, 100% of the proceeds is going to feeding hungry people in a time that's unprecedented, where people are hurting that were never hurting before. So she wasn't making any money on this event or this book, and there were still people complaining. Why am I saying that? Because everything is perspective and attitude and how you see things. When you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at then change. In any situation, there's always a glass half full, glass half empty. I tease my husband all the time. I pushed back my chair yesterday, and the lights that I use to do these lives and to film my education crashed into my background. It just missed my computer. It could have been a disaster, but it wasn't. It made a big crash. He comes running. What the heck? Are you okay? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. I pushed my chair back. I forgot the light was there. Do you realize, this is him, glass half empty. Do you realize that could have been a disaster? That could have broken your computer. All of your education, your entire career is on that computer. And I'm like, but it didn't. And I just keep saying, but it didn't. So both of our perspectives are completely different on any given thing. So I call our relationship the brick and the balloon. I'm the balloon that's like, woo, let's do a hair show and invite Vivian McKinder and Beth Minardi and Sue Pemberton and Nick French and Philip and Mary Wilson and all these people that are at the top of their game in our industry who have no idea who I am. Let's do a hair show, and I'm going to do it myself with the help of my daughter, and I'm going to send swag boxes, and I'm going to make this the greatest hair show there ever was. And I did, and it was a great event. So perspective and having, no fear, or I'm sorry, not having no fear, having fear and doing it anyway. And that was the theme of this entire event. I love what Mel Robbins teaches about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're not familiar with Mel Robbins, you need to be. I've been following her for probably over 10 years. I had my son read her book. I have him watch her videos, and he has gotten so much movement in his life as a college senior doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My daughter did it yesterday. She said, Mom, I woke up, I did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Normally she lays in bed for a good hour and a half scrolling social media. She's 27. She did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, swung her legs over to the side, got up and got her day going. She went into the bathroom. Mel Robbins recommended, when you first look in the mirror, what do you see? We all say, oh my gosh, look at the bags under my eyes. Oh my gosh, I have sheet marks. I always have sheet marks right here where it imprints on my wrinkles. we see the negative, right? I see like this one sunspot on my chest. I'm like, is that suspicious? Do I need to go to a dermatologist? This is what we see. We don't see that we've been given another day. We woke up. We're alive. We're not suffering with COVID. We're not homeless. We're not without food, without shelter. Like, it's a big deal to be okay right now. And we forget that. We forget that so many people are not okay. So she says, the first thing to do, and it sounds corny, and she says it when she says it that it sounds corny, is go up to the mirror and high five yourself. Try that today. Try that tomorrow. The next time you look in the mirror, and even if you're out at a restaurant and you go to the bathroom, when you look in that mirror, instead of going, oh, I need lipstick, my face is shiny, oh, I'm sweating, my hair, give yourself a high five for getting through the day and being alive and being a positive person. So a lot of what she talked about was rejection. Optimism is a muscle that needs to be worked out. So you can choose to be optimistic. It's a choice. It always is. Always try to find the silver lining. Always look at the positive. The hardest thing for me in my entire life has been the rejection. I just sit in my diaper, sit in my shit when someone or something rejects me, and it's something I really think is important to me, at the time, keyword at the time. I am so angry. If I see that person pop up on my social media, I'm like, I am hiding them. They're hijacking me every time I see their face. How dare them say no to me when I know I was a good fit for that. And the theme of the entire day, Chrissy Metz from This Is Us, the big heavy set, one of the triplets, that's the Kate, she was on there, and she talks about how she wanted to be an actress and she moved to LA. And what happened was she ended up being a nanny for people whose kids wanted to be actors and actresses, and she had to run them around to their auditions. So she's like, this is not the dream that I set out to do. This is not what I thought I was going to do. But eventually those no's finally became a yes. And she tells that story. And she is not your typical actress. She's very, very, very unhealthily overweight. And she still is an amazing, famous actress. And she overcame all of that and is doing great things. So I literally have 3 entire pages filled with quotes. This coffee chat would be 4 hours long if I shared every single quote. So I picked out the things that stood out for me and that I thought resonated with us and our industry. And then I am happy to send you the 3 pages of quotes. Just sign up for the email list. Go to expertcolorsolutions.com. You'll see, join my mailing list, or I think it says opt in for my top 10 tips. If you're not on the mailing list, join. I will send that out to you. But Mel talked about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What happens when you count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? You don't give your brain a chance to have those negative thoughts that automatically come forward. Like, oh, I don't need to get out of bed. What's the difference if I go in early or stay late? Nobody's going to notice. It's not going to make a difference in my career. All the negativity comes flooding in. But when you count backwards, it rewires that connection and it won't allow that negative thought. So you just have to take action on 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. When you don't want to exercise, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, put your gym clothes on as soon as you wake up. So she also talked about something new and different that I haven't heard her share. And she talked about lint, L-I-N-T. She said, if you can do a load of laundry, you can do great things with your life. You can live your dreams. You can reach your goals. And I'm like, where's this going? She talked about lint. She said I forget what it was, if she saw a video or she was somewhere at a laundromat and the guy was cleaning out the dryers. Oh, it was college kids with their washer and dryer. And college kids were never taught to clean out the lint filter. So the guy's like, oh, I'm constantly repairing these dryers. These kids, they don't know that lint builds up and then the heating element gets blocked and it's going to cause a fire. And I was like, that is genius. We have lint in our brain of all the experiences of our entire life built up in our brain, like plaque in our brain. All those failed job interviews, all those rejections, all those failed relationships, the breakups, all the things. Picture all the rejections and negative things that we've endured. And if we don't make peace with them and take a look at them, it's like see the fear, see all the emotions bubbling up. Robin Robbins from Today's Show was first to speak, and she said, I'm most proud of the things that I overcame than the things that I accomplished. And she talks about how fear and all those feelings are always going to come up. And during COVID, I was guilty of this. During COVID, we were like, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going to live in fear. It's all going to be okay. And you pushed it away. I pushed it away. And what happens is it's going to bubble up somewhere else. I ended up having a frozen shoulder. I talk about it on these coffee chats all the time. And I was slated and booked to have surgery right before Christmas. I could not move my arm. I was in so much pain. And now I look back, I did not have the surgery. I did physical therapy, and I look back on it, and I'm just enough further ahead now to realize that the frozen shoulder was me pushing all of the fear, the unease, the worry, we were at a point where we were going to be losing our rental and we couldn't find the house that we wanted to buy. And it was the closest to being without a home that I've ever experienced. I've been very blessed and I've never been without a home. So I was in a state of panic. We were looking at houses. Everything was just happening so quickly. And that showed up. We use our shoulders and our arms. I've been doing hair for 34 years. So that was a weak spot for me. And that's where my stress and worry showed up, in this frozen shoulder. So when you look back on things, it's always, hindsight is always 2020. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense that happened at that time. So rejection, after attending this event, can see so clearly one of the best quotes of the event is, rejection is God's protection. It's hard to feel that way in the moment. What is wrong with me becomes, it wasn't for me. I'm going to say it again because it is some powerful shit, and it has changed everything for me. And I'm going to finish talking about why. Rejection is God's protection. No matter what religion you are, you don't have to say God. Rejection is the universe's protection. Rejection is spirit's protection. Rejection is my soul's protection. Whatever your belief system is, this isn't about religion. You instantly say, what is wrong with me? I'm not good enough. I feel bad about myself. What could I have done differently? Why didn't they pick me? Why not me? I did this in old relationships back in high school, in my 20s. What is wrong with me? Why did this not work out? And if you can flip that to what is meant for me will be. It is already for you. It is already designed for you, and it will find you whether you show up or not. You don't have to go seeking it out. I talk about all the time that I'm a control freak, so I'm constantly trying to make things happen. So early in my career as an educator, about, I would say 7 to 8 years ago, I wanted so badly to pivot and shift into being a hair color educator. I was so burned out in the salon and owning a salon and being a leader and coaching my staff and giving them metrics and pushing them with retail and all of the things for 30 years. I couldn't take another minute of it, but I lit up when I had a new hire that I could open my brain and just dump all of the hair color knowledge into their head and watch them soar in such a short period of time. So I kept having this soul movement of I know I'm meant to do this. I know I am, but I didn't know how to start. So I did what everyone else does, and I started reaching out to different manufacturers of products that I use, because I feel like I need to share what I love. I can't hold up a product. I'm looking for a product I twisted my neck this morning. This is BioFreeze. You rub it on your neck. It makes it feel good. It has that tingly menthol. I could sell this to you all day long, because this has saved me on so many occasions when I couldn't move. Right now I can move my neck just enough because I use this. I can sell you a product that I use in the salon because I love it and I use it. So the first thing I did was reach out to a company who I loved their product, and I believed in their branding and what they did. And they only sold one product, and it was one product that I loved and used. So they made an announcement that they were looking for educators, and that they were going to fly the educators to their home base and do this 5-day amazing training program on how to be an amazing educator for this company. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so for me. I had my daughter do my resume. I put it in the brand colors of their brand to try to get their attention, to do something different. I was like, this is so my break. This is going to happen. I'm so excited. And I got the rejection letter. Now, mind you, at this point, I'm like 28 years of experience, own 2 successful salons, have trained many, many 6-figure colorists. Like, I know how to color hair. I was perfectly qualified for this position. So I remember sitting on the beach and my tears in my eyes, and my kids were with me. And I was like, I cannot believe I got rejected by this company. I can't believe I would not be a good fit. And then we do the comparison. I'm like, oh my God, she got picked. I taught her how to do that technique. I was in her salon in another state. I traveled with my other colorist to teach her how to do this exact technique that I would be teaching for this company. How the heck did she get picked and I didn't? And you just go on and on and on about all the reasons why they're wrong and you're right. And this was the perfect fit. I finally was able to let it go. I moved on. And then I reached out to the head of this company for something completely different and got completely ignored. And I'm like, here we go again. I was able to move on and let it go, the rejection, because I know now that that was not a good fit and it would have been an awful choice for me. I would never have done what I've done had I gotten that position. So I can see it crystal clear. Reach out again. I'm like, I swallow my pride. I'm like, I'm going to reach out and ask this person to be involved with a future project because I think they are a really good fit. And I'm going to move past that, and totally ignored. And I'm like, you know what? We are not meant to be in the same sphere of influence. We're not meant to work together, and it's fine. It's okay. So after Mel said that quote about rejection is God's protection, it's just not meant for you, I sat and journaled. Where's my journal? It's like overflowing. I have so many goddamn journals. Here it is. Revival. My revival journal is all this stuff from this event. And I was like writing like a mad woman, thanking every single rejection. And the first one was that rejection. I was like, thank you. I'm not going to shout out and say negative things, but I would love to. Thank you, blank, for rejecting me as an educator. Thank you, blank, for rejecting me when I reached out to you for this current project. Thank you to this old boyfriend that cheated on me when he went away for his senior week. I mean, we're talking high school. I'm 53 years old, but he cheated on me with someone that I knew, which hurt, right? I wasn't there. I was younger, so I was still in high school. He went to the spring break kind of thing where you just drink your face off, and he ended up with this other girl. I was like, how could he do that? Why would he do that to me? Why her? Why did it have to be someone I know? Well, he ends up getting her pregnant. They are married to this day. They have the most beautiful family, beautiful grandchildren. They were a much better fit. I look at their life and I say, I don't want their life. I would have been horrible with him. And my 2 kids would not exist. Had he not cheated on me, what if I ended up with him? And he likes to go hunting and he's like a man's man and he drinks a lot and like all these things that are not me and not a good fit for me. Thank God he cheated on me. Thank God all those things happened. And I met the person I was supposed to meet to have the amazing kids that I now have. One of my I'm getting off track because I always do, but one of my absolute favorite movies is Sliding Doors. It's probably hard to find at this point. It's Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't know if you can bring it up on Netflix, but if you can, please do. It is the most thought-provoking as a movie. It's not like cinematography like there is now, but the message is so amazing. When you can look back and say, because this happened, my sister had a boyfriend who was killed when he was 24. It was tragic. It was awful. She was devastated. Because he died, her boyfriend died at 24. I was 19. Because he died, she ended up marrying my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is my husband's best friend. So my kids are now alive and exist because my sister's 24-year-old boyfriend passed away. Crazy, right? And if you go back to before she met him, there's a reason that she met him. So when you can go back and journal out, thank you for that rejection. Thank you for that rejection. Thank you. And really own it, because this year I went from being rejected by that company to being nominated for a NAHA Educator of the Year award. The people that I was nominated and up against are Tabitha Coffey, who you all know and love, Vivian McKinder, Sam Villa, Chris Barron, Stephen Moody. Like, these are people who have educated for 20 plus years in our industry, and everybody knows who they are. And I was blessed with a nomination alongside them for being an independent educator who had to do it on my own, because I got rejected from that company. I got rejected from my local beauty supply house. I was like, please let me get up and talk at your event. I'm so passionate about teaching hair color. Please let me get in front of your owners and ask them to let me train their stylist in color. Well, no, we don't really do that. And then they would have someone else that like I knew doing the same thing. And I'm like, I've been your customer for 20 some years, buying color from you, spending money with you, like probably put your children through school, and you can't throw me a bone. I met with like the powers that be, and I had an idea for a really cool boot camp for people who come right out of beauty school. And I laid out the whole entire agenda, and I met with someone at this distributor. And I said, this is my idea. I'd love to do it at your location because you have all these customers, and I won't, this was before online virtual stuff. This was a really long time, like 15 years ago. And they were like, oh, yeah. Yes to me to death. And then crickets. I didn't hear anything. And then I'm in the salon. I will never forget the feeling. I'm in the salon and I get their little like newsletter thingy that they send out. And I read it from cover to cover, what are the special deals? What's going on? And I look, and it's like introducing, new stylists, hair color boot camp. We have this great new and I was like, son of a bitch, are you kidding me? This is my whole syllabus. This is my whole idea. They just took it and cut me right out. So they were on my list of thank yous. I was like, thank you for doing that, because I would be schlepping almost 2 hours from my house. I would have been schlepping back and forth in the cold, in the rain, in the snow, teaching for them and not for me. Now I'm able to do it for me, by me. I am a one-woman show, and I get to wake up and be excited to talk to all of you. I don't even have to have bottoms on. You don't know. Could I be in my underwear? I just might be, or I might be having bottoms on, but you don't need to know that. So I don't have to schlep around in the snow and ice and the cold. I can work right from here, and I can touch you and reach you and inspire you and help you with your hair color and do what I love to do. So back to the dryer lint. I went full circle. So the dryer lint, Mel says, your negative thoughts, all of your experiences become like lint in your spirit, on your soul, in your brain, and they make you make stupid decisions because you're weighed down by all the stuff of the past. And she has an acronym for lint. It's, what is it? Losing inspiration through negative thoughts. So LINT, losing inspiration through negative thoughts. So you become so exhausted by being beaten down and hearing the no's that you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm just not meant to do this. And everyone does it. Chrissy Metz from This Is Us was saying, maybe I'm just not meant to be an actress. Jamie was saying, maybe I'm not meant to own this makeup company. I was saying, maybe I'm not meant to be an educator. And who knew that, I would get to do that and love it and feel like I'm living my dream life. So the other thing they said that Mel says is, if a problem can be solved simply by taking action, then it's not a problem. Getting diagnosed with a life-threatening illness is a problem. That's something to stress about and be concerned about. And you can't do anything to change it other than get medication, go to a health professional, but you can't always beat it, right? And that's a problem. But a problem that can be solved by taking action. In our world, how to relate is raising prices. I can't. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't. When I hear the word can't, that's just a big substitute for I won't. When you say I can't, just stop and look up and think, I just said I won't, because you did. Because you can. You can raise your prices. You should raise your prices. And hopefully you will raise your prices. So everything is a choice, and it's about taking that little, small, slightly uncomfortable action that's going to take you from here to there. And it's so simple. I often say, I can't believe I moved to Florida and I've been here 2 years and my brother and sister haven't been here to see me. And my sister's great at calling me all the time. She calls me much more than I call her. I'm not a phone person, but I never hear from my brother. The only time I hear from him is like somebody dies and he'll be like, hey, did you see on Facebook so-and-so died? And then the dialogue starts and I'll call him and we'll chat. And then 6 months longer goes by And then we talk because of something else. And I caught myself saying out loud to my husband, it really makes me sad. My brother and I were so close. He used to take me to parties with his friends. I wasn't like the younger sister. He was like, come on, come with me. You know, all these people. He didn't want to see me sitting on the couch by myself if I just, was going through a breakup or whatever. And I was sad. He's like, come on, you're coming. And we would go and have a great time. So I said it out loud to my husband, like, oh, it really makes me sad. And then I said, and then I caught myself. I did whoa, this is my thought thinking he's not reaching out to me. Well, I'm not reaching out to him either. So if you have a friendship that's broken, that you miss that friend, and you're like, oh my gosh, I never hear from them. They're this, that. So are you. It goes both ways. So taking that uncomfortable action of sending a letter to someone who you had a massive breakup with, not romantic, but just like a friendship that went south, a deal in business that went bad, an employee that you let go, that it still bothers you. I am the queen of handwritten letters to people that, like, I had one girl leave the salon and we kept in touch. And then all of a sudden she just stopped reaching out to me. And I was like, what the heck is that all about? And I wrote her this really nice birthday card. I'm talking at least 7 years ago. I was like, you're a lot younger than me. And maybe there's been something that maybe something that I did was something you didn't understand or you took it personally. And I hope, I didn't mean anything personal. It's just something I need to do for my personal growth, yada, yada. So the other day, my daughter sends me a picture of a save the date for a wedding thing that got sent to the salon because I moved and they don't have my new address. And it's that person that used to work for me saying, save the date, I'm getting married. I'm like, she blocked me on social media 7 years ago. I haven't heard from her. We haven't spoken. I haven't seen her. I don't know anything about her right now. And I'm getting this save the date. So I'm like, maybe it's something that she wasn't quite able to process, whatever it was that made her not want to connect with me. And it's okay. It's never too late to heal something that was most times misunderstood. Most times there is a misunderstanding. Somebody said something. There was a quote. I just sent it to my husband today because we both talk a lot, as you can see. We're talkers and we talk fast and we fill blank space. If we're out with couples and it's quiet, we'll start, telling, oh my gosh, stories, funny stories, trying to fill the void of the space. But it's not always necessary to fill the void. And sometimes you say something that can offend someone and you don't mean to. So this quote came across my feed today. You have no idea how long something you say can stay in someone's mind. And I have a million examples of something that I said, just no filter, just blurted out of my mouth in the moment that hurt someone's feelings that I had no idea I even said it. When they said it to me years later, when you said, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't even realize that I said that. So we all do it, whether you're a talker and talk a mile a minute like me, or if you're more quiet, but you say what's on your mind and you don't necessarily have as much of a filter. And I'm not saying don't speak your truth. You have to be your authentic self and you can't be so guarded that you never tell someone how you feel. But when a client is abusing you, don't get on Facebook and tell other hairdressers how abused you feel and how do I handle this and what do I do? Say to the guest, I am feeling really not well right now in how you're treating me, and it's not okay. And if you're going to be my guest and I'm going to give you 100% of my time and attention, you need to start to speak to me with more respect. You have to respect my time more if they're a half hour late and then they're like coming in with their Starbucks and not for you. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. There's so much traffic. And they're like sipping on their fresh, hot, steaming latte that they just got 5 minutes ago when they were already 20 minutes late. So don't get on Facebook and tell me about it or your coworker about it or your mom or your sister or your brother. Tell the person that's doing the behavior. And I can say that so easily because I'm 53 and I know if you're watching it and you're 23, right now you're like, oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom right now. I'm so nervous about what she just said that I instantly have to run to the bathroom. And that's normal when you're younger. But when you hit 50, I always coin the phrase, the FU 50s, because once you turn 50 and you look back, and I'm watching it happen to a lot of people younger than me, You hit that 50 mark and you're like, what the hell? How did I let that person do this to me? How did I let that job do that to me? How did I let my lack of growth, how did I put my lack of growth in someone else's control? How did I wait for my boss to tell me I was doing a good job or give me that price increase? Why didn't I demand that price increase? Why didn't I just make that price increase on my own? So doing all this self-improvement work, attending all day workshops like this one, Becoming Unstoppable, it's all ways of building up your armor and teaching you how to be more you, because there's only one you, and you're here to do and be and behave and enjoy all the things that you're meant to do. And the strongest quote, what is wrong for me, what is wrong with me, becomes it wasn't for me, and what is for me will be. It's there for the taking, because the most powerful thing you can do is bail on a dream that wasn't yours. You may have thought you wanted to move to Nashville and become the next Taylor Swift, and you think you sound amazing in the shower and you're singing up a storm and you think you're awesome. And then you watch American Idol and The Voice and you're like, wow, there are a lot of talented singers. So when you're in your little box in your neighborhood and you're the queen of karaoke and everybody thinks you're awesome, you are awesome, but you may not be awesome enough. But it's okay to love music, but maybe your role in music is to be the person behind Taylor Swift, dressing her, being her hairstylist, being around that energy and in that niche, but not in the role you thought that you were supposed to be in. So instead of feeling down and depressed and woe is me and I never got to do my dream, change the damn dream. Let your gut tell you what your dream was meant to be. I have a friend, Alice Wilcox, who, if you don't know her, check out her Facebook page. She's an amazing human being. She's a hairstylist, salon owner of, I think, over 40 years. Her and her husband owned a salon. And she does human design readings. I'm going to have her on the chat. We picked a date. I have to see when it is. I don't want to waste time, but I'll be telling you when she's coming on. She did my human design reading. I reached out to her last night. I said, oh my God, Alice, I just finally got a chance to listen to the recording that you sent me. And I have to say, such perfect timing after this event with 10 hours of like feeling like I drank from the inspiration fire hose. Like it was just so much inspiration and I was so fired up. And then Alice sent me my reading, and the very things that are in me because of the day, the time, and the place that I was born, my human design, me, only me, at the time that I was born, at the place that I was born, all of it tells me what I'm meant to do with my life, what my dreams are, what my aspirations are, how I behave in any given situation. And the summation at the end of this human design report was the very things that I've spent the last year, because I'm starting this whole new life, this whole new living in another state, doing something different with my career, so much fear of the unknown, so much anxiety that I started to question every single thing about myself, my personality, my delivery. Am I too harsh? Am I too blunt? Am I too honest? I need to tone that down a little bit. Maybe I'm scaring people. And the very things that I was trying to work on getting rid of about myself are the very things that help change people's lives, that people will read. Someone just sent me a voice note and she's like, I love your no bullshit approach to hair color. I love the way that you explain it. Just hits me right in the feels and I get it right away. And I'm like, Alice, thank you for that. Thank you for, giving me the permission that these are things that are imprinted on my soul as a human being. The word they use is it's the bedrock of who you are. And it said, the bedrock of who I am is I cannot do the same thing for the rest of my life. I had to be, an employee behind the chair, and then a salon owner, and then a salon owner who was a teacher and someone who grew six-figure colors within the salon. And then I had to become a life coach because my life coach did so much for me and helped me so much that I was like, I want to do this for more people. I need to become a life coach. So the bedrock of who I am is bringing all of those things that I enjoy and turning it into something that is mine and that I can navigate myself while bringing into it the home that I want to live in, the location that I want to be with my family and my business all together, and feeling at peace with what I do and never feeling like I need to run away from myself again. And that's where I am. I'm like, oh my God, Alice, you have no idea. If I look at my passport and I see all the times that I would run to Canyon Ranch, run to Miraval, run to all these like retreats, and Stacy's on here and she knows, Stacy and I have been to a lot of the same events. You're always running to some guru or some event or something that's going to change how you feel inside, when it's been in you the entire time. You just need someone to remind you. So I'm not sorry that I went to all those events, but I kept running away from the salon and my life as a salon owner. And I would get so filled up on these retreats. I'd come home with my crystals. Where's my crystal? I'd come home with my crystals and be like, oh, I want to bring all the energy from Sedona back. And I want it close to me. And I want to be reminded of that trip when I felt the most like me. And the truth is, I felt like me because I was able to get quiet and get away from the chaos and realize how much I did not like what I was doing. If you keep on that hamster wheel and you keep doing it in spite of all those signs and signals, the frozen shoulder, the stiff neck, the back aches, the this ache, the like sick to your stomach, the this, the that, if you're always getting sick, that is your body, your spirit, your soul, whatever you want to call it, telling you to change your life and do something different. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be something small, like going from 5 days to 4 days, going from 4 days to 3 days. Stop working Saturdays. You don't have to work Saturdays. I opened a salon and never opened Saturdays, my second salon. I was like, that's it. I am not making these women miss all that time with their families, their babies, miss every baby shower, bridal shower, wedding shower, sporting events with their kids. I'm like, no, they're going to work on Monday. They're going to be more productive on Monday because they want to be there because their kids are in school and they're not missing time with with their kids. So I consider myself a pioneer in those kind of things because I was like, why do we keep doing that when it's just because we always did? Because hairdressing was always Tuesday to Saturday. We open up a salon and we do Tuesday to Saturday because everybody else does. We open a salon and we charge prices because we called the 3 salons around us and said, how much do you charge? We didn't sit down and figure out, what is my rent? What is my productivity? How many hours do I have behind the chair? I only have so many hours in the day. So, I can look back on all that and laugh at myself at what I charged when I first opened, and laugh at myself for doing kids' haircuts and waxing and brides and all the things that I hated to do when I was a passionate colorist who was good at what I did and should have done more of that. So I hope that this fired you up as much as it fired me up. I thank you for allowing me to share. And again, I would be more than happy to share literally 3 pages of notes. Victoria Osteen, confidence is built one day at a time. How you live today builds the confidence you need for tomorrow. Experience is the best teacher. Don't go looking for what you don't have. Look at what you do have and use it. I could go on and on and on. Hater, this is the best. Trent Shelton, I'm going to end on this note. Trent Shelton, who I had no idea who he was, said, when you're on social media and someone says something negative and you're like, oh my gosh, it's totally sticking with you, you can't even get through your day. He says, haters are just confused supporters. They're following you. They're following your page. They're watching what you're doing, and they're being negative because they want to do more of what you do. They're just confused supporters. I love that. I could have used that a few years ago when I started on this social media journey. So thank you always for listening. I hope this helped in some way. Please reach out and give me feedback if you've made a change as a result of hearing this. Check out Jamie's book. 100% of proceeds go to Feeding America. She raised, over probably $3 million for Feeding America. It was an amazing event. Keep your eyes open. When things show up on your Facebook feed and you're like, oh, wow, that looks interesting, stop scrolling and sign up. Just sign up. And if it's terrible, turn it off and walk away. But you just might change your life from a one-day event. So thanks so much. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.